Welcome to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast, where we have Roki Sasaki's Coming to America, Platinum Glove winners, and we're going to recap the East Divisions. Next.
Welcome to the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast. My name is Brad. I'm here with our guy Brig. Mr. Brig, how are you today?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you, actually.
Good.
Getting into the off-season, it's kind of nice. It feels so relaxing, I'll be honest with you, to not have the stress of watching a baseball game these days.
Yeah. It's nice to have a little break.
It is. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know. It's like, 8 months of stress that we live for?
Yeah.
Every single day?
For? Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Recover, recuperate, get your blood pressure down, sustained for a little while, and then it's going to all start up again in February.
Eat a little less salt, That's not going to happen, but
That's not going to happen. Not during football season.
No.
Please, Brig.
No. Oh, did you see the BYU-Utah game?
I did see it, yes. I stayed up and watched the entire thing. That was wild.
Me too. I loved it. I watch 3 football games every year. Up to 3. I watch up to 3 games a year. I watch the Holy War if it's on. I watch Army-Navy, and I watch the Super Bowl. That's it. And I got exactly what I needed.
I watched 3 football games on Saturday alone.
Yeah. I did catch most of the Georgia Tech game.
That was crazy. Was crazy. I watched Ole Miss beat up on Georgia. That was wild, too.
We watched some of that as well, actually, now that I think about it. I watched a lot more football this week than I did every other day of my life.
Wow, look at you. You watched more football this weekend than you have the last 3 years combined, I think.
You're so right, dude. You are so right.
Welcome back to the Football Together podcast. Speaking of football, though, if you want to, you can head over to fanatics.com. Use the link down in the description to support the show. Get yourself your World Series gear, your playoff gear, your team gear, also your college football and NFL gear, because it's all there. If you hit the link in the description and go to the website, that way you will be supporting the show with every purchase that you make. So head on over to Fanatics and get your stuff. Get your football gear, because it's that time of year. All right. Let's get into things now. Okay. First things first. Japanese phenom pitcher Roki Sasaki has been officially posted by the Chiba Lotte Marines to Major League Baseball. Yes, this is the same Roki Sasaki we talked about. Go up here to the top. There's should be a little thing there right now on pointing. You can go watch where we talked about him throwing a perfect game.
Yeah.
At 20 years old. So
it's unbelievable.
Currently, he is 23 years old. He's 6'4". He pitched for Japan in the World Baseball Classic. So, Brig, hold on to that one for just a minute, because that's
when we all really got to know who he was.
Right. We actually got to see him play, and he's legit. Yeah. So he's coming, like I said, he's coming to the U.S., he's coming to Major League Baseball. This is according to bookies.com. They have the top 10 odds saying that this is where they think he's going to go. The favorites are the Dodgers at plus 300, the Padres plus 325, the Yankees plus 750, Giants plus 950, Mets plus 1,000, Red Sox plus 1,200, Mariners plus 1,400, Cubs plus 1,500, Phillies are also plus 1,500, and anybody else with the field is plus 1,500. Brig, I want to know, where do you think he's going to go and why?
Look, if he goes to the Dodgers, it will be a combination of playing with Shohei again and all the hype from this season and everything that they're able to do with deferring money and whatever he wants that way. If he goes to the Dodgers, that'll be why. But I wonder if he's not going to want to go somewhere else and kind of get out of the shadow of Shohei. But I don't know that Japanese baseball players feel that way. How much of that do they
Well, because you think about Yamamoto, he didn't even make his decision until after Ohtani signed with the Dodgers.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There's a ton of that follow each other around, kind of like let's do this together.
With this group, it feels like. That's why I think he's going to go to the Dodgers. Because, so there's that, but also think about this. What other team has a pitch where you can have Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto sit down at a table with a fresh World Series trophy and be like,
yeah,
what do you say?
Yeah.
We run it back?
Yeah, dude.
You're not going to have to go out there and carry this team on your own every fifth day because you've got me, you've got this guy here, you've got Tyler Glass now, and you've got a veteran in Clayton Kershaw who
and then Walker Buehler
is going to be back.
We
don't know what state he'll be in, but he'll be there, and he's as good as it comes with a mentor.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no other option, in my opinion.
I think you're right. Unless he does that, I don't want to be under the shadow of these guys thing. But I don't know. That's the only reason he wouldn't. If everybody's going to offer him the same amount of money, it's going to be a culture thing. And if that's not the culture he wants to ride with, then that'll be why. But
so he's getting international pool money. So it's based on whatever the team can get with international pool money. And he's coming over on the same deal as Ohtani, which is going to be a minor league deal. So when he is a big leaguer, day one of the regular season, he's going to be making league minimum. So it's all based on really who can give him the most international pool money or wherever he wants to go.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And so, I don't know. I think it's the Dodgers and everybody else, to be completely honest with you. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's like, yeah, let's go win for the next 6 years until I hit free agency. And then I'll go on and carve out my own legacy there. I can go somewhere else and have 5 rings at that point. Right?
Dude, I can see that. That makes a bunch of sense to me. Yep.
Then there's at that
with
point
that
there's no
argument,
pressure.
it'd be really hard to argue with not going to LA with that all in mind. Yeah.
That's the way I see it. So it just makes too much sense, and as much as I hate to see it, it also will just be absolutely fascinating to watch that team from here on out.
Yeah.
They're going to be a buzzsaw.
I mean, for real.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy.
Does it bother you? Is this the end of parody? I guess it's not, because it's baseball, and you just never know. And the crazy things happen in baseball. You can have the highest paid, most talented team ever, and it won't matter sometimes.
Right. It mattered this year because they just had more depth than everybody. But at the same time, though, like they're going to have to figure...
They played smaller ball better. They played fundamental baseball cleaner.
I think that's what it comes down to with the Dodgers too. Is that like you've got the Mets who were paying more than anybody. The Yankees were right up there. Then the Dodgers were third this year.
Yeah, exactly,
because of deferred money. But they played better baseball than everybody because their approach is better.
It is.
They're not just rolling the ball out there and letting everybody play. Like, no, this is what we're gonna do. This is your role in this, right?
It's so upsetting.
It is, but also at the same time, though, like it makes sense. It makes sense that the team that won the World Series, and I actually appreciate that the team that won the World Series actually had a concerted approach to do so, and it wasn't just go out there and hit home runs, fellas.
Yeah, I do too. I agree with that. The fact that fundamental baseball won the day, ultimately, big fan of that.
Yep. Absolutely, 100%.
More of that.
Speaking of the Dodgers in the World Series, Shohei Ohtani kind of got, I don't know if he got crushed for this, but people were kind of taking a lap a little bit on Ohtani because he wasn't very good during the World Series. Well, we found out why. He had a torn labrum in his left arm. And so, wasn't swinging the bat well, if at all, sometimes. Right. And we saw him running with all but his arm tucked into the buttons of his jersey. He won't be ready to pitch by the start of the 2025 season because he's got to have surgery on that labrum. It's not his pitching arm, so that's good. But at the same time, though, so my last few weeks of playing baseball, I dealt with a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
And my coach knew everything. We were trying to rest it, trying to figure things out, but we didn't know exactly what it was. We didn't know exactly what to do with it. But he's like, "Can you hit?" I was like, "Kind of." And so I DH'd and I pinch hit, but I couldn't really go out and throw. And so I got up there to swing, and I had like 2 good swings in me before it would hurt. The first one was good, the second one was mostly good, and then the third one was just kind of a fan. And so I would only swing the bat twice every at bat. That if I got 2 good pitches at the beginning, I was not swinging again, hoping I would walk.
If you missed them, that was it.
Yeah, exactly. So anybody who understands, especially on that back shoulder, because for me it was my right shoulder. I'm right-handed, is on the back shoulder. What you're dealing with, and mine wasn't torn. They thought it might have been at the time, but it wasn't torn. Understands what that feels like to try to swing a bat with a shoulder injury. It's not easy. It's not comfortable. And so it makes a whole lot more sense why Ohtani looked the way that he did in the World Series to me.
Yeah. Now, are they saying this had to do with the base sliding thing, or are they saying it was an existing...
Yeah, that's when it happened.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because... But some of his performance wasn't spectacular leading up to that. So I wonder if they're just using this as a really nice way to just summarize and scapegoat his issues. I'm not... Possibly. I don't want to take anything away from being hurt and underperforming, going out there every day, trying to make it happen. That's fantastic. Like, that's incredible. But if I remember right, it wasn't all spectacular leading up to the World Series.
It wasn't, but I feel like he fell off a cliff in the World Series. Once that happened, then it was just like it was steady, and then it just went, just dropped right off.
Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting. I'm sad that he has an injury at all. Like, I don't want that, but
yeah, it
happens.
Yep, it does, and that's part of winning a World Series is having enough guys healthy.
Yeah, and you do have to gut it out, and it does come at a cost, a lot.
Yeah. So speaking of which, speaking of gutting it out, I watched an interview with Chris Rose talking to Miguel Rojas about Freddie Freeman.
For real?
Did you see this?
No. What did he say?
So first off, Miguel Rojas he's like, his ankle was like this big and did like the size of like a small pizza, right? And then he was talking about his rib injury, that during game 1, about every 25 minutes leading up to the at bat, called the at bat.
Right. Yeah.
He said every 25 minutes he was getting shot up in his ribs with painkillers.
Really?
Yeah, because it was that bad.
Whoa, dude, that's...
Yeah, that he had a rib fracture, I think is what it was. Like, it's like a cartilage issue, but yeah, he's like, it was really bad. Like, wow.
Yeah, that's bad. I mean, we already loved Freddie Freeman, so we didn't need more reasons, Brad, but that just takes it to another level.
Well, I think some Yankee fans will take it to another level to hating him because of that.
Nah.
Oh, we had to go out
some
there
will.
Anyway.
Some will, but they're just only because they wished he didn't go out there and do it.
Right, exactly right. He shouldn't have been playing.
Reason.
What are they doing? Send him out there. But protect those guys from themselves.
Said the fan base that supports the team that let Anthony Rizzo play with a concussion for an extended period of time. Like, come on now. And not nearly as productive. Not even close during that same period.
Well,
or during the injury period. So
a concussion is something else, though. All right, let's move on. Because we have awards, Brig. More awards. Major awards.
I love awards. I love awards.
I love major awards, and these are all major awards. Platinum Glove, or as we should call it, the Nolan Arenado Award, has been announced.
Right. Yeah.
In the American League, it was Cal Raleigh. In the National League, it was Bryce Terang. By the way, I'm ecstatic about this.
Yeah,
Cal Raleigh was so deserving of this because the dude
100%.
was the best. The best, Brig. The only problem with this is that his price tag now goes up.
It really does, though. Big time. But to an organization that can pay him, they just don't want him.
I know. That's the problem.
It's so stupid.
I've said this before. He's a Scott Boras client. And the Mariners need to approach him and just be like, look, we really want to extend you. We want you to be a Mariner for the rest of forever. What's it going to take?
Yeah.
Or we'll start here, right? Like, that's how negotiations start. Let's start here. You don't want to go to Scott Boras with what's it going to take. But whatever it is that it takes, they need to pay
he'll
up.
take you for a ride is what it's going to take with Scotty B. Don't say that to Scotty B.
You're
What
right.
is it going to take? Well, let me tell you.
You got $1 billion? Because we'll take it. That's what it's going to take.
That's right.
He just won a major award. But
Right, exactly. Which is going to come
really,
up
though,
anyway.
like the Mariners need to lock him up, though, because he's going to win a Silver Slugger. Now he's got a Platinum Glove. And he's only going to get better, I feel like. I don't feel like he's peaking right now. This is not going to be a one-and-done situation. No, the Mariners know what they have with him.
But we thought that about Jose Trevino behind the plate in New York.
We did. I will say, I didn't think it was about Jonah Heim. I still like Jonah Heim. He did not have a good year at all this year. Last year seems to have been an outlier, but I think next year Jonah Heim will come back and have another good year. I don't think it'll necessarily be a Gold Glove year because I think Cal Raleigh's going to defend. But I think Jonah Heim's going to have a better year next year. I don't think this year is who Jonah Heim is, but I think Brig, I've been watching Cal Raleigh since he was in like freaking Double-A.
Oh, I know, and I'm very excited for you. Very happy.
That's why I feel like this is who he is.
I'm just saying that one season of true excellence, like, because Trevino won a Platinum Glove as well, right? Like, you just never know. And that's what I'm saying. You just never know.
And last year, Brig, I thought that Cal got robbed, too.
You did, yes.
So,
that's
valid.
True fact.
I feel like he legitimately should have back-to-back Gold Gloves this year. I was shocked, though, that Trevino won the Platinum Glove last year.
He did a great job, though.
The Nolan Arenado Award.
Right. All right, so we have some finalists announced today.
Go ahead.
And let me just go through them and let you know. And we'll feel smug about some of these, so you should feel smug right along with us. The MVP, again, will be announced November 21st, but finalists in the American League: Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Bobby Witt Jr. I don't think that list is far from pretty much everybody's pick.
Right.
I think that's pretty much what everybody suggested. In the National League, Francisco Lindor, Shohei Ohtani, Ketel Marte. Any surprises there?
No, maybe a little bit Ketel Marte just because he was injured at the end of the year. But if you're going to take out the injured time, because it was really at the very end of the year, then absolutely he fits because they were talking about him in the MVP race the entire year.
The Cy Young, November 20th is the date they will announce this, but your finalists are Emmanuel Clase, Seth Ligo, and Tarek Skubal. And then the National League, Chris Sale, Paul Skeens, Zach Wheeler, Cy Young. Who you got on that?
In the AL, obviously, I got to give it to Tarek Skubal, Triple Crown winner. He deserves a Cy Young. And then the NL, Chris Sale's going to win it.
That's what we both said that. I think we both still feel that way. This one step closer to confirmation. Rookie of the Year comes out November 18th, official. The finalists are Colton Cowser, Luis Heel, Austin Wells in the American League, National League, Jackson Chourio, Jackson Merrill, and Paul Skeens.
I'm going to stick with Colton Cowser and Jackson Merrill on those.
Yeah,
that's who I've got. See, the only thing I can think is possibly Jackson Chourio over Merrill. But I think Paul Skeens is going to end up finishing third there because he didn't have as much time in the bigs as those other guys.
I think that's the only reason. If he doesn't, and once every 5 days, it's a little harder to make an impact. So I agree with you on that. I would probably I'm going to give it to Chourio. It just feels that way. I don't even have a reason to back it up. It just feels that way. And then I'm going to give it to Luis Heel. It's going to be hard to battle out with Colton Cowser. And again, back to that 5-day rotation problem. But I will say that he filled in huge shoes and nailed it. Yeah. And so I think he was a big part of the reason the team was capable of maintaining any momentum. That is huge value. Yeah.
Yeah, he had an outstanding year. And I I'm not surprised to see him on the list. I'm a little more surprised to see Austin Wells on the list, but at the same time, I don't know who else I would put in his place. So at that point, I guess it makes sense.
He's the also ran for sure.
Yeah,
I think you called that last time, and I think you're right.
Yeah.
Had he had a better year,
right.
But that's the way it goes, right?
Exactly right. That's how it works.
Manager of the year, again, this will be November 19th. The American League, A.J. Hinch, Matt Quatraro, and Stephen Vogt. Not Voigt, Vogt. The National League Manager of the Year finalists, Carlos Mendoza, Pat Murphy, Mike Shildt. Easy.
I'm going with Stephen Vogt and Pat Murphy.
And Pat Murphy, yep. That's what I said last time, too. I agree. I still feel that way.
Yep. Absolutely
Hinch is not a bad choice. And
the fact that he got the Tigers to the playoffs based on where they were, you might need to give it to him there. But I think Stephen Vogt did an outstanding job with Cleveland's baseball club this year as his first stop as a manager, first year as a manager. Good for him. Matt Quatraro, like I said, the turnaround with the Royals this year was unfreaking real.
Yeah,
I think
unreal.
I don't think there have been 3 better candidates for this award ever together.
No, probably not. We'd have to look hard, but this is a very serious, tight contest. It's cool. Mm-hmm. It's fun.
Yeah, it's to the point that I think, like I said, I think Vogt's going to get it, but if either of those other 2 guys got it, I would think they have a legitimate argument.
Absolutely. I agree.
And same thing with Mike Shildt. I don't know so much with Carlos Mendoza, but I'm going to go for sure with Shildt and Murphy.
Yeah, I'm giving it to Murphy.
Let us know who you have, baseball family. Put your predictions down in the comments on those. All right, let's move on to the no longer Oakland A's. They have officially dropped Oakland from their name. They will be just known as the Athletics, and instead of the OAK abbreviation, it is now ATH. Is this good, bad, or weird, Brig? What do you think? This might be a new game.
It's going to feel weird. Listen, the transition is going to be weird. There's no... we're talking about decades worth of reformatting and recalibrating our brainsicles, so it's going to be a problem. But we saw this coming. Most of the season they started using A's. They started using Athletics more in broadcasts and team messaging.
Well, and they did. They
from
did
the
tell
front
us.
Office.
They did tell us they were going to drop Oakland.
Right.
So that part we knew. But the thing to me now is that it's officially official. They are no longer the Oakland A's. They're just the A's.
Yep. Yeah. I think they did a good job conditioning us, though. Honestly, I think they did the best job they could at preparing the fan base mentally for the transition. And this is the right time to do it, and it sucks that they have to do it, but I think at least the way they're trying to go about this decision has been effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird to me not have any city designation. Like, I understand.
Yeah.
In Korea, it's all based. It's company that owns the team moniker, right? Mm-hmm. Pretty much everywhere else in the world, like it's just like a moniker. Like in European soccer, it's like AC Milan. It's the city, but it's AC, right? Yeah. And I don't know. It's weird. It's weird, but
depends on which league it's in internationally.
In soccer, yeah. Because like Manchester United, Manchester City is just the city, right? Exactly. But everybody has their moniker, their nickname attached to it.
Yep.
Wolverhampton is just like, you just call them Wolves. That's based off the name, right?
Right.
So now it
is different.
The Athletics. And the one thing I will say, last thing on this, the one thing that is funny to me is of every team in Major League Baseball, it had to be the team that was named after just an athletic club.
Yeah. The most benign name possible. Yes.
Just the most bland thing ever. They're just the Athletics. Yes, they are athletic. Very good. But what are they? They're athletic. Yes, that's what they are.
Terrific.
That's how you know them. You just know them as athletic. The A's for short if you want.
Sure. If you're not into the whole brevity thing. Yeah.
That's right. El Duderino.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, here's an interesting thing out of LA. And by that I mean Anaheim. Angels general manager Perry Manassian, I can't remember how to say it, so that he won't guarantee Anthony Rendon an everyday role going into 2025. Look at that.
Super duh. Super,
Would you look
super
at
duh.
that?
How do you
This
like
is what,
that?
This is what Perry said. He said, we need, not Perry the platypus, don't confuse him, Brig. He
Very
said,
good,
we
thank
need
you.
him healthy. We need him on the field. He knows that. He knows the expectations coming into camp. We talked about it. He's going to have to come in and show us he can still play and earn the right to play every day. That was, he said that on Foul Territory. So this is really interesting because they still owe him a lot of money over the next couple of years. So my question to you, Brig, is what happens if he doesn't earn an everyday role? If he comes into spring and they're like, no, you're not cutting the mustard, buddy. So what do? Do you trade him? Do you DFA him? Do you just bench him? A lot of money sitting on your pine.
I think you just give him I've just lost his name because I can't think of him.
The Jacoby Ellsbury treatment
disappeared. Thank you, Jacoby Ellsbury. You just do whatever that situation in New York was. Just do that.
Put him on the Phantom
IL. In fact,
IL
I
for
would
the
do
next
it
2
now.
years.
I just do it now.
Just put him on the Phantom IL for the next couple of years until his contract is up.
Yeah, just anticipate he's not going to happen and get some real hardcore prospects and up and comers and in your minor league system. Get them really jazzed about the opportunity to battle it out for that starting role. That's what I would do. I would just signal to the whole world that it won't be him. This is a precursor too. This is a precursor to that.
It is. Yeah, they have him signed through 2026, so they got 2 more years on that deal. They could put him on the Phantom IL for that time. Give him the Jacoby Ellsbury treatment. You're right.
Yes, sir. That's what I would do.
And you know what?
Toxic crap out of there.
I'm pretty sure he'd be happy about it too.
He would be.
Because he's still getting paid.
Yep, and that is his priority. I would get him out of there. I would make his personality illegal in the clubhouse or whatever. Like, I don't know the guy. I have no idea what he's actually like as a human being. But with what he has said on the record, and you put that into a clubhouse situation, and with the pressure and the grinding it out every day and the whatever else, like, it just seems like that's not the voice you want. Even if it's just energy, even if he never opens his mouth and he's just moping around or whatever, it's still not the energy you want in the clubhouse. It can't be.
Yeah. I mean, he was willing to start a fight a couple of years ago when he was injured. Yep. So you got that, but I don't know if that's the same Anthony Rendon that they're going to have around the clubhouse this year, if that's the case.
Maybe he's willing to start an injury in the clubhouse. Or start a fight in the clubhouse, with he's injured. Yeah, start an injury. He probably would start an injury.
At that point, you just DFA him, though. At that point, you just designate him for assignment. He goes away. You don't have to worry about him anymore because he's going to elect free agency. But then I doubt anybody picks him up.
Exactly.
Because he's played in less than 40% of the games. So I think he's played in less than 35% of the games he's been eligible for since he's been an Angel.
Well, okay.
So
cool.
It very well could be one of those things. If they DFA him, that could be the end of the road for Anthony Rendon in Major League Baseball.
I could see it.
I could see it
as well. If they do that, does he ever come back under any circumstance?
I don't think so. I think he takes his money and he goes away. Because he's like,
I think so too.
Now I don't have to play. Now I don't have to worry about the long season anymore.
Yep. I love it. I think let's do it. Call Artie Moreno and get it figured out. Let's do it. Come on now.
Wouldn't be surprised if it happened. All right, let's head just a little bit south, Brig, just down the coast. Let's go to San Diego, if you will, founded by the Germans. Mike Shildt, manager, agreed to a two-year extension with the Padres. He had 1 more year left on his deal through 2025, so this is going to get him through 2027. According to the score, this includes a substantial raise. There were no financial details given, but he was in the bottom third of managers in Major League Baseball this last year, not just in the National League, in all of Major League Baseball. So it's going to bump him up, which it should.
Pay. The bottom third for pay.
Yes, sorry.
Right. because he's on the finalist list. So let's be clear.
Yeah. Well, he certainly earned it. He did something Bob Melvin wasn't able to do.
Oh, yeah. Well, we called it, too. When he left St. Louis, we were like, look, that dude's going to bide his time for maybe one season. He might end up a bench coach for one season or whatever, and then somebody's going to pick him up, and he's going to be a world beater. Here we go.
And we said San Diego, too.
It would be San Diego. That's exactly right. Yes, we did.
And here he is, making a difference. It's crazy, too, because we thought Bob Melvin would be able to manage the egos in that clubhouse, but it doesn't seem like he was able to. And Shildt has done something to get everybody to buy in, play together, and it has gone extraordinarily well. And because this is the other thing. So I saw something the other day. I can't remember who it was that said it, but it might have been Dave Roberts, said that they saw the ALDS against the Padres as the World Series.
The NLDS.
That whoever won that series.
I did see that.
Sorry, the NLDS. Yeah, whoever won that series, they felt like was going to go on to win the World Series. And I think that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, I mean, obviously. Not. Hindsight, maybe, but still, I don't know. I picked the Friars to beat the Dodgers, and it didn't happen. So.
Probably should have, but it didn't. No, I actually have.
Okay.
Anyway, I have receipts, Brig. I told a buddy that the NLCS was the World Series. Well,
you did. You said that before Dave Roberts did.
I didn't want to hurt your feels though, so I didn't tell you that. Anywho,
retroactively hurt feelings.
I apologize.
No, you don't.
I do. I really do.
Okay.
Anyway, let's move on. Let's go talk about your Yankees for a minute, Brig. How about that?
No. Okay.
Let's talk about your Yankees. Okay?
All right.
The Yankees picked up Aaron Boone's option for 2025, so he's going to be back. He's running it back, Brig.
He is. Yep.
The American League champions. He's coming back. Is this good, bad, ugly, or indifferent?
I don't know. I don't know.
Indifferent.
I think, honestly, we've seen what we're going to get from him. I think he manages personalities really well. I think if there was any question from that, we got it from this season with Soto being in there. Not worried about that if we ever were. He defends his guys. His guys love him. They love him.
Right. Big-time players.
He wins. Yeah. He wins. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think this is bad. I think some of his management decisions have been questionable, and I think they may continue to be questionable. But, again, he's got insider information that the rest of us don't have. So it's really hard to say this is bad. It's not ugly, for sure.
No.
I doubt that it's indifferent because if you're looking at it, the ownership want dollars. And this guy puts a team on the field that puts butts in seats.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if you're looking at what's in the pot, right, what's in the stew, you got to leave Boone in there because the stew is producing golden eggs, man.
Right.
I mixed 3 metaphors there. How'd you like that?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You must have been writing today. So here's the thing.
Oh, man, a lot.
This is the way I see it. Is up to this point, the only measuring stick that Aaron Boone has had is we just didn't get the job done.
Yeah.
There were areas where we just weren't good enough and couldn't get the job done. I feel like after losing the World Series the way that they did, they can look at it and be like, this is exactly where we went wrong. This is exactly where we were lacking against the World Series winning team. This is where we make up the difference. This is what we need to do going forward. And specifically, Brig, it is your defense and your base running.
100%. The base running.
Because those ended up being some of the biggest differences in this series. Yes, there was the Nestor Cortez decision to bring him in to face Freddie Freeman. But honestly, lefty on lefty, I don't feel like that's a bad decision. That's not a bad baseball decision. We have hindsight to tell us it is.
On paper. When he walked in, I said, oh no. Oh no.
Oh yeah, I think we all did because
I don't
Nestor
think we need
Cortez had not
hindsight
pitched a
for that.
competitive pitch in a long time. But at the same time, though, you've got lefty on lefty, and there's a reason they call him Nasty Nestor. Would Tim Hill have been a better decision in that spot? quite possibly, because he's been pitching.
Right, but we don't know.
There's no way to know.
And the biggest reason they call him Nasty Nestor is that when he is dealing, or when he needs to shake it up to get people back guessing at the plate, he does the wobbly, shaky pause thing. That's why he's nasty. You can't do that with guys on base. It's not necessarily his stuff every single time. It's that he's able to disrupt timing in a bunch of creative ways, and it's nasty. That's the... Like, he has good stuff, don't get me wrong, but when it gets nasty is when he's playing with you.
Right, because if he didn't have good stuff, he wouldn't be around still. He obviously has good 100%. Stuff. But yeah. The thing is that Freddie Freeman jumped on that first pitch and sent it way back beyond where it came from.
Freddie misses that ball. If Freddie misses that ball, Nestor could have been in there for a long time. Could have. We don't know.
All I had to do was get one out.
Yep. Oh, that's
game's
true.
over.
You're right. It was one out. I don't know. I didn't need hindsight to feel like that was a bad decision. I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay. I did. I thought it was interesting in the moment. Hindsight tells me it's a bad decision. How's that?
I panicked.
But
the minute
I will
they said
say overall, and I've said this before. I like Aaron Boone as a manager. I think he does a really good job with what he's given, because a lot of managers, we've seen it before. Bob Melvin, we talked about it just a minute ago, don't always have a hard time managing egos, but sometimes do. And Aaron Boone does not seem like he ever has a hard time managing egos.
Nope. I agree with that.
He does a great job keeping that clubhouse together, keeping everything cohesive. It's just that sometimes there are areas where they're lacking, and I think that those areas where they're lacking this year were finally brought to light, and I think the Yankees this year in the offseason, if they're going to do it right, are going to be like, look, this is what we have to address. We have to figure out our base running situation so that John Sterling does not continue to say we're running the bases like a bunch of drunks. We need to tighten up our defense, because while it's good, it's not great when we need it to be, period.
No, I
agree. I think that now that they have everything exposed to where it's at, because we talked all year about how they have their warts, but we never said what they were. Now we know exactly what they are.
I mean, we did sometimes, but we would talk game by game maybe, or week by week.
Right, but I think generally speaking, though, their general problems were exposed in the World Series, and I think they can come back and be like, look, this is what we got to fix, this is what we got to do. We're going to start in spring training, we're going to get it tightened up, and we're going to be a better team going forward, and Aaron Boone is our guy for at least one more year to do so.
It makes sense to me. It does. The only thing is, when I was, after they lost, there was all this stuff about, wanting it bad enough, and the culture of the team and the organization and all of that, and Derek Jeter was brought up a million times, and he was on some late night talk show, and they were trying to get him to say, would you rather lose out the whole season or get all the way to the World Series and lose that? He's like, how do you rate losing? Why would I do that? A loss is a loss. It's not over until we win everything, all of it. He's like, you want to go run down the street right now? I will beat you right now running down the street. Mm-hmm. That is what's missing in the clubhouse at Yankee Stadium.
You're right, and I think it's just a different mentality in Major League Baseball. Totally. Part of it, I could go on and on and on and on and on forever about the Jeter Yankees, about why things are different, but I think just basically what it comes down to me, is that there's a difference in mentality, and that difference in mentality has been changed starting with travel ball. And then gets all the way up.
Yeah, you're probably
right. Players are wired differently now than they were then. Just because people are.
I think you're right. Some people are. I think some people have that still. They still have that fiery, black and white, win-lose draw.
But I still think that there's, to some degree, though, you've got... I always think back to Mike McGreevy on Little Big League. You guys are big leaguers. What's better than that? And he says, a multi-year deal worth big bucks. That's what. There are some guys who have the Mike McGreevy attitude.
Anthony Rendon feels that way. We just talked about him.
Right. I know.
He just wants a multi-year deal with big bucks. He doesn't even want to show up and earn it.
Right. I know. He doesn't care. He's already got it. Okay, last thing before we go take a break. This I just think is funny. So last week we talked about Gerrit Cole opting out of his contract and making it look like he was going to hit free agency. But then I was like, well, wait, hold on. He's got that void clause, right, Brig, where they throw on an extra year and some extra money. Well, so the Yankees called his bluff. So he opted out to trigger the void clause. The Yankees said, no thanks, but you can retract your opt-out. And Cole said, what opt-out? And the Yankees said, good. In their best Palpatine voice. Yeah. And now everybody's happy again.
Yeah.
But I will say, ultimately, of this whole thing, I am so glad that the Yankees did not buy into Scott Boris's hand and just caved to give that extra year just to keep Gerrit Cole around, because they knew he wanted to be a Yankee, please.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. And we need the money. Well, we don't need the money. We have the money. But
printing money, Brig.
We would like to have the money because we're about to play with some money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
We're entering the sweepstakes.
And when you're right, you're right. So you're right. That's all there is
Thanks,
to
buddy.
it.
I like that.
Okay. Before we get into a break, we want to remind you about Chinook Seedery. You can head over to ChinookSeedery.com and get all of our favorite flavors and yours. Don't forget there's always jalapeno ranch, Brig, which is underrated in my opinion. Smokehouse barbecue, lemon pep. What's your favorite?
Parm and pep, baby.
Parm and pep. Hatch chili.
Ooh,
cinnamon toast is the absolute truth. It's all so good. Head over to ChinookSeedery.com and use BTPod at checkout to save 10% off your order. Support your mouth, support your show, support the show. I keep saying your show, Brig. I don't know why, but support the show. This is everyone's show.
Hopefully.
And
yeah,
support your wallet all at the same time. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to recap the East Divisions, National League and American League, but not in that order.
Baseball family, some of the hardest parts about eating sunflower seeds, outside of choosing which flavor you prefer, is keeping track of the packaging and trying not to spill your seeds all over the place. Well, now those days are over with Seed Sack. You can get a seed sack in canvas or leather with a metal squeeze clasp. It keeps your seeds nice and protected. Seed Sack also lets you personalize your sack with names, numbers, and logos. They're great for team gifts, birthdays, or just for whenever. Head over to seed-sack.com and use code BASEBALLTOGETHER. That's baseball with the number 2 together, and save 5% on your seed sack. Again, that's baseball, the number 2 together, for 5% off your seed sack order. Welcome back, baseball family. As the Brad Master said, we are going to get into a recap of the divisions. This time we're going to do the East. We're going to start with the American League, as we always do. Then we're going to move over to the National League, and I can talk, I promise. Going to move over to the National League second. First, though, I want to tell you that we're going to start from the bottom of the division and work our way up. So for those of you who would like to track things or skip ahead if you need to, whatever you want to do, it's fine. We get it. It's okay. But we're going to start with the Blue Jays in the American League. They finished 5th place. They had a team ERA of 4.29. That's good enough for 22nd in Major League Baseball. Their team OPS, 18th in Major League Baseball with 703. So there you go. Win percentage, 457. I think that is relevant information, that they had a 457.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the AL East, and you can rag on it all you want, but that is still, I know it's sub 500, but there's only 2 teams in the AL East with sub 500 records.
It's not that far below either. I mean, I guess there are 14 games under 500. So
but not as bad as we saw in other divisions. Anyway, Brad, what do you think was... What were some of the standout moments? What were the highlights? If you were to broad stroke it, what would you say was great for the Blue Jays this season?
Vlad had a great year.
Yep.
Vlad Jr. had a great year. Dalton Varsho has been a revelation. Everybody knew he was good. Especially Lourdes Gurriel Jr. knew Dalton Varsho was good, right?
Yeah, he did. He really did.
But I don't think any of us knew he was this good. I didn't think any of us knew he was going to be this kind of outfielder. Because think about this for just a minute. That he is listed as an outfielder and a catcher.
Mm-hmm.
How often do guys transition from catcher to outfielder? and have some of the
Zero.
best range in Major League Baseball. Pretty much zero.
Zero.
Because what's
much.
one thing catchers are known for, Brig? Tell me one thing catchers are known for.
Slow.
Yes, that's the one right there.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the one. To be a center fielder, you got to be fast. Dalton Varsho is very fast. He's a very good outfielder. So I was wildly impressed. Everybody was, and he's only 5'8" too. That's the other thing that gets me. And like 90% torso. Like when people were talking about like Dalton Varsho is like a Gold Glove outfielder, I'm like, bull. No, he's not. There is no way. But you watch him play, you look at the metrics, and he absolutely is, and it's absurd. Yeah. It is
absurd. For me, their biggest standout was their pitching, right? Jose Barrios, 3.6 ERA. Strikeout rate dropped off a little bit, but he was still super solid. I mean, Chris Bassett, his stuff jumped a little bit, but it wasn't horrendous. He ended up with a 4.16 ERA, and his velocity went up from 2023. I don't think it's great pitching, but I think it's better. It was one of the highlights of their season.
It was serviceable, that's for sure. You said Kikuchi, they ended up trading him, and he had finished the year really great for the Astros, and I think that's what... The thing that's funny about Kikuchi is that like the way he pitched for the Astros is like that's what the entire league saw when he came over from Japan. It's like, this is who he is. Right. This is who he can be. He was an all-star for the first half of the season with Seattle because that's who he was one of those years that he was there, right? So, yeah, the pitching was really interesting to me because one of the things that I was looking at is as a team, they had a 4.29 ERA. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's fifth worst in the American League. But the problem they really ran into is they gave up a whole bunch of home runs. It was the Blue Jays gave up 208, the Angels 202, the White Sox 201. And that was the only three teams in the American League that gave up more than 200 homers this year.
That's true. You're right. You're right about that.
That's going to be a big-time problem.
That's true.
And then their ERA
22nd overall. 22nd overall in ERA. Wow.
Yeah.
If I think that's a bright spot for them, they have big problems. Because I still think that they have some bright spots in their pitching, but I didn't look at those widespread team statistics. I was just looking at a couple of guys.
As a team, they weren't very good. They have individual guys. Like, Barrios is very good. I like Barrios a lot. Very good. Right? Yeah. But offensively, though, was just not a good year for anybody. Like, they were third to last in the American League in home runs. Their OPS plus, they were smack dab in the middle average at 100, which is saying something because, I mean, you look at Vlad.
Yeah.
He was 166. Spencer Horwitz was 125. And then Justin Turner, when he was with the Blue Jays, he didn't even finish the season with them, was 107. Other than that, their starters, those are the only guys over 100. Wow. IKF was 116, but he only played in 83 games.
Which is so sad. That dude is awesome. I know he gets a bad rap, and I just continue to believe he's underrated. And the injury's not going to help. I do too.
Yep, I absolutely agree with you on that.
In 162 games, they committed 92 errors as a team. That puts them in that's 8th place on 8th from the bottom, right? That's what is that worst math? 21st. The Yankees were 22nd. Like they were
right there with
the next
them.
Bad. Yeah. So
but they're
maybe we'll
just
give them
the
errors
problem is
committed.
As I say, the problem is when you're making that many errors and you're giving up that many home runs, you have to have the offense to make up for it, and they just didn't. They didn't have it. And, part of it is Bo Bichette played in 81 games this year. That's a problem.
For sure.
He ended up finishing the season with a negative .3 WAR. That is not Bo Bichette-like. This is a down year for him. I'd say this is an outlier. I would expect him to be healthy next year and come back and have a great year. Right?
I agree.
So that's part of the problem, is that Bo Bichette was not able to carry his weight this year, and that's going to be a significant issue for this team. If he can carry his weight help with Vlad. Dalton Varsho gets back and he was slightly below average. If he is just enough above average as he was below average this year, if he has an OPS plus of 102 next year and then has another Gold Glove year, he's going to be a great contributor to this team.
Yeah, let me mention a couple things about Vlad really quick. He led the team in batting average, home runs, RBIs, on base, and total hits. It's kind of his banner
Not surprising.
Year. I know.
Not surprising.
It's freaking awesome, man. It's freaking awesome.
Great year for him. So one thing going forward about the Blue Jays is they have said that they are going to be in on Juan Soto as much as anybody else.
Yeah, I know. I heard that. But thank you for coming.
And that's fine. They can say that. But it's not going to make a difference.
No. That's why I said thank you for coming. It's like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope,
not going to matter.
Super cool.
Not at all.
Love it. Love your energy. Feeling good about it.
I love the energy, yes. Exactly right. All right, Brig, let's get in and talk about the Rays. You want to take us in there and start telling us about them?
Yeah, man. They had a 80-82 season, 4th place in the American League East. Team ERA, 378. That is 9th in Major League Baseball. But the team OPS was 29th in Major League Baseball with a 669. That's bad.
Well, yeah, and if you want to compare directly, they were 90. They had an OPS plus of 92. That's bad. That's the third worst in the American League, behind only the Angels and the White Sox, who, by the way, were at 77. We'll get there though. Yikes.
Did you know that Wander Franco was just arrested? By the way, again after an altercation.
Yeah, I know. We'll leave it at that because I don't want to give that guy any more airtime than he needs.
That's it. Anyway, so batting, the batting average leader, Yandy Diaz, at 281, which is great. That's a respectable average today. Home runs, Brandon Lau, 21. Yandy Diaz led every other category, RBI, on base, and total hits. His on base percentage was 341.
Though, my guy, Jose Caballero, led the American League with 44 stolen bases. He also led the American League with 16 caught stealing. Just like I said, he would. Not directly, because I did say he's going to steal a bunch of bases. He's also going to get caught a bunch of times, is what I said at the beginning of the season. But, hey, Rays fans, you had a whole lot of fun watching him, though, didn't you? Because I also said
that. When he wasn't striking out 133 times, second in the team. Next to Jose Siri.
Strikes out so much.
And Jose Siri struck out 170 times.
Holy moly.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Jose Siri for just a minute, because he had an OPS plus of 76. He has been on an absolute spiral that started in, like, September of 2023. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he and Wander Franco were buddies or what, but something happened. And Jose Siri has just been on an absolute spiral, like I said, and has not been good at all. He has his moments. Right? Where this year, they tried to say, Jose Siri, or hey Siri, it's not going to work, or something like that, and then he homers on the next pitch, right? Comedic timing, but generally speaking, has not worked for him. 18 homers this year. He's better than that. He's a better hitter than that. He's better than a 76 OPS plus. As a reminder, 100 is league average, always.
Right. Yep.
He had 25 homers last year with an OPS plus of 105. Like, what's going on? It's bizarre.
Well, his batting average is at 187 over the season.
I know. It's so awful. Crazy. 620 OPS. I don't know, man. They're going to have to figure out something with him, or just decide that when it's time to cut bait. Because, yikes. It has not been good, and it has been he's just fallen off a cliff from where he was at the beginning of last year. And I know everybody was playing out of their minds with the Rays last year. But still, he's only got 2 years of service time. He's certainly not going to be a Super 2, so they don't have to worry about arbitration yet. They have one more year to figure it out on him. But still, like, I guess he's got 3 years, because that was the start of the season. So he's got just over 3 years of service time. But still, like, I don't know, man. Because that's a problem. You can't have your center fielder playing like that offensively.
The best pitcher the Rays had was Zach Littell. 3.63 ERA with 141 Ks. That's 66th. He won 8 games, lost 10, but his WHIP is 1.25, and he led the team with 63 earned runs.
So
of course,
basically what it comes down to,
he has the most innings pitched,
right,
as well. So it'll balance itself out. But
yeah, basically what it comes down to with the Rays, though, is the pitching always has been and always will be absolute money. The problem is that you do have to pay for bats.
Yep.
Yandy Diaz cannot do it all by himself. Isaac Paredes cannot do it all by himself, who, by the way, was heavily shopped this year. Paredes was.
Right. Yeah.
And so they're looking to get rid of one of their top 2 offensive guys. And actually, they did. I apologize. They did trade him to the Cubs. They traded him to the Cubs at the trade deadline. So, what do you do? Right?
I don't know.
I don't know what you do.
I don't know. I have no idea.
They better have some studs coming up in their system, or they're going to be even worse next year. They're going to have more problems.
Do you think they will? I don't know what their system looks like right now. I haven't looked.
I have no idea what their system looks like right now. We'll have to look at that stuff going into the season with our preview. But at this point, though, like, you don't have your guys because Randy Rosarena's gone too.
Right. Yeah, he's gone. But their starting rotation is right now, as of this moment, 5th in baseball when you consider their strikeouts per walk percentage. Mm-hmm. And they're 7th in WHIP. So again, like you said,
they're the East Coast pitching. Mariners, Brig. But their offense was not as good as the Mariners for some reason.
Not this year.
Which is weird. But great elite pitching, but you just not enough offense. And by that I mean like basically none. So
let's go into the Red Sox.
Let's do it.
The Red Sox had a really interesting season. 81-81. It's good enough for 500, in case you can't math. Like me. Team ERA, 4.05. That's good enough for 16th in Major League Baseball. But their OPS was good enough for 7th overall Major League Baseball with a 741 OPS. I think a lot of things went right for them. I think they came out of nowhere at a certain point in the season, scared everyone to death. Just scared us to death, man. In the whole division, we were like, what is going on? And with a bunch of nobodies for the most part. Yeah. Yeah, it was a little bit bitter all the way to the end. So they did great. They played hustle baseball. They played good fundamentals. And the problem is their pitching just fell off. They just couldn't hold it together with pitching. And because of that,
so their pitching is, as far as their pitching is like perfectly average. Right. Like, and I think that's going to hold serve for you to some degree. Their offense, though, like, this is the thing that's crazy. So these are kind of some interesting things. They were second in the American League in total bases. And the reason they were second in total bases because they were first in doubles. That team was a doubles machine.
Yeah.
Just pumping them out. 311, they led the American League. But then home runs, too, they're fourth. They're fourth in the American League in home runs.
Yeah. And
so, great hitting team. I felt like offensively they did a lot of things really well. I watched them play the Mariners early in the season. It was like the second series of the season or something like that. And there were some guys I was like, they're going to cause some problems. Duran was one of them.
Duran
caused problems for people.
Oh man, year. That dude, all-star, right? 285, 342, 492, 21 home runs, 111 runs scored, 34 steals.
Yeah, he's got elite speed.
You know who else was a revelation? Was Tyler O'Neill. That trade for Tyler O'Neill.
So Tyler O'Neill, it's funny because like we saw him in St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
And Mariners fans know him because he was originally a Mariner, and so he got traded to St. Louis for, I think it was part of the Marco Gonzalez deal, and then he comes up, and he kind of fell out of favor with the Cardinals, and that's why they traded him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But
I guess.
I think what it was is that he this year in Boston, I think he was good, but we didn't know he was this good, right? Because we didn't get to see it as much in St. Louis.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember every time the Mariners played the Red Sox, like, gosh, I freaking hate Tyler O'Neill.
Yeah, I had the same experience with Jarren Duran. Well, and let's not forget what went wrong, kind of what some of the problems were. Devers was playing with some kind of shoulder injury like the last month or so, few weeks of the season. That kicked him right in the pants when it came to that wild card race. I think that had that not been the case for Devers, they could have had a very different story. But can you imagine what would it be like to get rid of Chris Sale and watch him fly his way to a Cy Young nomination, to be a finalist for a Cy Young? That has got to feel bitter. Putting that much work, that much time, that much patience, that much development, and then you cut him loose and he freaking takes off. Ouch.
Yeah, it's got to. Absolutely. But the Red Sox held their own all year, though. Like you said, they were a nuisance in the division and the wild card all year long, that we kept wanting to be like, okay, maybe this is it. But then we just couldn't, because they just stuck around until the last week of the season when things finally just fell apart. They couldn't do it anymore. So part of the problem, though, is Trevor Story only played 26 games. If they have Trevor Story all year, I think that this team is just different enough that I think they probably make the wild card. Because the Royals didn't seem like they wanted it there at the end.
Yeah, you're right. They kind of stumbled in. I will say that their bullpen was not great all season, but then the last, past the All-Star break, the second half, their bullpen just fell off a cliff. They had I'm looking right now, finished the season with a 4.39 ERA, but the second half they had a 5.45 ERA. That's what the bullpen posted. That's bad. That's part of your problem.
That's a problem.
Right there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that is absolutely a problem.
Yeah, I think you're gonna.
So I don't know. I think with the Red Sox, they need to shore up that pitching. I think they figure that out and they get some guys back healthy. I think they'll be right back in the mix.
Yeah,
good
I think
team.
You're right. Yeah,
I agree better than I want them to be.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Because they're probably not going to compete for the division because you've got the Orioles and the Yankees, and we'll get there in just a minute. But the Mariners do probably won't win the division because the Astros are going to be competing with the Red Sox for a wild card spot. So, like I said, not a little bit better than I wanted to be, but here we are.
It's pretty tough. Let's go into Baltimore, though, because Baltimore is a wild and crazy case study this season. 91 and 71. Second place. The team ERA, 3.94, 14th in Major League Baseball, and some of that has to do with before the break and after, before the deadline and after. And then the team OPS, 751. That's good enough for 4th overall in Major League Baseball. You've got Cedric Mullins, batting average, 429 when he was playing.
How many games did he play that he's not?
3. 2.
Cedric Mullins played 3 games?
In the postseason, it was 2.
Oh, in the postseason. Okay.
429. Yeah.
I missed that part. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, sorry. He played 147 games. He had 444 at-bats and 234 average, 710 OPS, 2.6 WAR to end of the season.
So he also had a 107 OPS plus. Like, this is the thing that's crazy about this team, Brig. Look at the offense across the board, because this is his top 2 offense in the American League, which is what carried them for most of the season, because they had some significant injuries to their pitching. So the OPS plus leader was Gunnar Henderson, 159. Holy smokes!
159 is banana pancakes.
And then you've got Colton Cowser, 123, Anthony Santander, 134, Ryan O'Hearn, 122, Ryan Mountcastle, 113, Adley Rutschman in a down year, by the way. In a down year, 107. Cedric Mullins, 107. The only one who is listed as a starter on Baseball Reference because he was when he was up with the team for 60 games is Jackson Holliday, 66. But a lot of that has to do with his first time up. Then the second time up, he was great. He was great.
Yeah, he was great.
So
Gunnar Henderson led the team with a batting average of .281 throughout the season. That's what I'm talking about. That's way better. That's what it needs to be. Santander, 44 home runs and 102 RBIs, and then your on-base leader, 364, Gunnar Henderson, also hits, 177, Gunnar Henderson. That's just batting. Okay, you move over to pitching. Corbin Burns, 15 wins and a 2.92 ERA. That's 181 strikeouts. Kimbrel got the saves, 23, until he couldn't.
He's not an Oriole anymore, though.
Yep,
Keep that
exactly.
In mind.
And then their relief pitcher, Mama Jamma, was Yennier Cano, 34 holds. So he's kind of the man in their middle relief spots.
Yeah, so it's, again, the Orioles, I felt like they were right there with the Yankees the entire season. It came down to, wasn't the last week for the division between the two. And the difference ended up being that the Orioles pitching fell off because they just so many injuries.
Yeah.
So
yep.
That's tough.
That's true.
That's really tough. But
I think, didn't Zach Eflin only play I'm looking, 9 games? He started 9 games.
I don't remember him playing 9 games.
Yeah, he's got 9.
But so this is the thing that's crazy.
With Tampa Bay, he started 19 games. Go ahead, sorry.
Oriole, their pitching was right smack dab in the middle as far as home runs allowed. Oh, sorry, no, that's not true. Earned runs. I apologize. I can't go straight down the line, I guess.
Yeah, 14.
632 earned runs, but for home runs, they were right up there with the Guardians and the A's. They only gave up 175. That's fourth best in the league. Part of that, I think, has to do with that little build-a-park section out in left field that they have, that they talk about,
Yeah.
That helps because they also are not hitting as many home runs as everybody else, I believe.
That's correct.
That's not true. I shouldn't say that.
It is true.
They finished second in the American League.
They did? Hold on, I'm looking.
They did. 235.
They did. 235 behind the Yankees. Now, that's not just second in the American League. That's second in Major League Baseball.
It's a lot of home runs.
Out of all 32 or all 30 teams, it was Yankees 237, Baltimore 235, LA 233, and then the Braves hit 213. There's a huge difference there. Yeah, okay. They hit a lot of home runs there, Brad.
They were mashing. They mashed. Straight
they
up.
were.
Dangerous team.
Yeah.
They had a collective OPS of 118, which is the best in the American League.
They were on pace. After 81 games, they were on pace to win 100. But then they went 40 and 41 in the second half.
Yeah. Terrible second half killed them, and I think it was the pitching that really did it for them.
Yeah.
So
no, it was the pitching. I agree.
They're really well run, though. That team is put together really well. I have every confidence in the world that they're going to figure it out, that they're going to fill the holes. And if they stay healthy, Brig, they're going to be a problem for your Yankees.
Yeah. I know. I agree. Let's
Just
talk
like
about
they
the
were
Yankees
this
for
year.
a minute. The
Let's do it.
Yankees finished 94 and 68, first place. Team ERA 3.74 for 6th in Major League Baseball, and OPS of 7.62 for 3rd in Major League Baseball. We already mentioned that they led the league in home runs at 237, and they came in 3rd place in Major League Baseball in RBIs with 782. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Behind
So
only
we've
the
talked a lot about
Dodgers
the Yankees
and the
today.
D-backs.
We've talked a lot about the Yankees today, talking about how they did a lot of things really well. Obviously, the offense is unreal, just outstanding. Two offensive players up for MVP, which makes sense, and Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, because those are two of the best players in baseball, two of the best hitters we have, right?
Yeah.
The pitching was good. Pitching was really great. 4th best in the American League as far as the ERA goes.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal to be able to balance your offense and your pitching. The problem was, it's what we saw in Game 5 of the World Series. We saw problems with We saw problems with base running. Not as much in Game 5, right? But we
not
did
as
see
much
it in
in
the World
Game
Series.
5, but it
But
happened
we saw it
all through the postseason. Yeah.
Yes, and then consistent defense was a problem too. That as far as the outfield goes, they don't have the best speed in the outfield, which is going to make a difference. Ultimately, giving up extra base hits
and that
base
happens
hits in general. Because if you don't have the range, you're giving up more hits. So,
well, they've got great arms. They just can't get to the ball. That's the biggest problem.
right. Yeah, and that's one of the things too that you're not going to see on paper. You're only going to see that with the eyeball test. Even between everybody, the teams I watched the most this year, I would have to say would be the Mariners. Obviously, I watched a lot of Yankees. I watched a lot of Dodgers just because of who they are, and then everybody here and there, right? Mm-hmm. So it's easier to see who has what and where when you watch those teams more often. But and I said it earlier. I think the Yankees are going to address those issues. I think they're going to figure out how to help guys take the most efficient route to the ball. They're going to help guys with their jump. They're going to work on base running. They're going to work on basic fundamentals of fielding. I think they're going to get over the hump with all that stuff. I don't know. I'm not saying they're going to win the World Series next year because the Dodgers are going to be really dangerous, especially when they do sign Roki Sasaki. But I wouldn't be surprised if they were the best in the American League again.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. I think that Jazz coming over was
huge,
unbelievable. Without him, I don't know. I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. Energy, performance on the field, and he made his fair share of blunders, plenty, but he still did enough to shore it up. I think that the lack of balance in the lineup for the most part, in terms of lefty versus righty, and in terms of like just basic at bat strength, right? Basic hitting capabilities. You call it average if you want, but they perform better at the top end of that lineup this year than they did at the bottom, and that was a problem. It was a huge imbalance. So they got to fix that offensively, which is amazing because their offense was crazy. And if you want to talk about how that looks in real time, just look at the left on base statistic, which is my favorite thing to harp on. You get the top half of the lineup, and sometimes even 8 and 9 can get on base. And then like 6 through 8, sometimes 5 through 8, depending on who the lineup is, couldn't do it and couldn't put it together.
Mm-hmm.
It was disgusting.
So you talk about mad. Jazz. Here's an interesting thing about Jazz. I feel like playing in meaningful games made a world of a difference for him. Being on a team where him playing well mattered. So he played in 101 games for the Marlins this year and 46 for the Yankees, almost exactly half. Right?
Yeah.
So his OPS, what would you say OPS plus? OPS plus with the Marlins this year was 97. With the Yankees, Brig, 130. He hit 13 total homers with the Marlins this year in those 101 games. Yeah. He hit 11 in 46 games with the Yankees. He stole 22 bags in 101 games with the Marlins. He stole 18 in 46 games with the Yankees.
You're kidding.
He was motivated. He wanted to win. He took his game to another level when he got with the Yankees because it mattered.
Yeah.
And the Yankees saw that. They saw what he was capable of. I think the whole league knows what he's capable of, but the Yankees are the only team that was willing to take the risk and fork out whatever the Marlins were asking for him and bring him into a better situation for him as a player and his mentality, and it paid off for him. I think Jazz is going to be an all-star next year as a Yankee.
In 46 games with the Yankees, he averaged 273 at the plate. Beat it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I mean, there's a couple guys on the team that do.
Oh.
In 46 games, he was batting 273. 18 stolen bases.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's killer, man. 88 total bases. Yeah. Ugh.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, it makes a world of a difference for guys. And especially being on a team where in, like, what was it, May? The GM was like, we're not making the playoffs anyway. It doesn't matter what we do. Right? Like, way to motivate your players. The guys who
you can't
apparently need some kind of motivation to be playing meaningful games.
Exactly.
And he's back to his natural position. He's back in the infield. That might have something to do with it too. But I think overall, what he does matters. So he's going to take it to another level.
I agree. All right, let's move on to the National League East.
Do it.
And we're going to start at the bottom. We're going to talk about the Marlins. The Marlins, 62 and 100. In case you're wondering. 5th place. Team ERA, 4.75. That's good enough for 29th in all 30 Major League Baseball teams. Team OPS, 678, 26th in Major League Baseball. The only thing that went right for them was the second half of Xavier Edwards. Because in the second half, he had a 328, 397, 423 line. That was across 70 games. 31 stolen bases, 35 attempts. That's killer. 39 runs scored with 26 RBIs. It was only 1 home run. But 12 doubles and 5 triples in 70 games. The last 70 games of the season. It's very, very, very cool for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they kind of went and had a fire sale at the deadline. They got rid of Jazz. They got rid of Josh Bell. Didn't they get rid of Brian De La Cruz too? I think they sent him off to the Pirates. Yeah, Brian De La Cruz is gone. Jorge Soler was gone in the offseason. Tim Anderson's gone, which,
forget about it. Nobody cares.
Yeah, it didn't go well.
It's not going to go well. That dude needs something to change in his life or something. I don't know.
I agree. Yeah.
He needs to get something right.
To not challenge Jose Ramirez.
Man, I'm kidding.
There's just not a whole lot went right for the Marlins. I mean, you talked about Xavier Edwards, but that's like it.
Yeah.
Jazz was good, but he's gone. Otto Lopez finished with the 2.6 WAR, but he still had an OPS plus of 87. So, there's a lot of problems on this team. The pitching, the offense, the defense has its spots, but I don't know.
Yeah, like we said, Tanner Scott, solid. Mm-hmm. Still a trade, though. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I think
it's kind of hard to find something to talk about, to be honest with you.
Honestly, this is the only thing I have to say about the Marlins. Unless their front office has some kind of plan to get them up and running and things head in the right direction the next year or two, they're going to look like this for a while. This is who they're going to be.
It needs to, whatever it is, needs to change, and it needs to change fast. All right, we're going to move on to the Nationals. The Nationals finished 71 and 91. That's 4th place in the NL East. Team ERA, 4.30, 23rd overall in Major League Baseball. Team OPS 684, 25th in overall in Major League Baseball. It was not good. It's not a good season. It wasn't as bad as the Marlins, but only by a little. Like
the thing about the Nats,
just a little.
This is really the only thing I have to say about the Nats is that it didn't look good this year, but it wasn't as bad as it looks on paper. They have a lot of talent on that team. C.J. Abrams is a great player. They have some other young players on that team who are going to come around. They're going to develop. And I said earlier this year that I thought the Nats were a playoff team next year. I think looking at the way things are, where they stand, I think it's going to be 2026 before they're a playoff team. Just because of who they're going to have to go through to get there. But I think they have the potential to be 2026 when they make the playoffs. Because they've got, like I said, a bunch of young talent. Really, really young team. James Wood is only 21 years old.
Exactly.
Played in 79 games this year, 1.1 WAR. Had a 122 OPS, OPS plus, please. That's what I was trying to say, Brig.
Yeah. Luis Garcia, 24 years old, second base, right? 282 average overall in the regular season. That's fantastic. And not only that, but he had a 762 OPS, and he posted a 2.2 WAR this year on a team that struggled. That came off the back of 70 RBIs. on base 318, and a team leading 141 hits. So he's pulling his weight. Jacob Young stole 33 bases.
Yeah,
That's
and
pretty
Lane
good.
Thomas was really good when he was with them. He was a good contributor, but I mean, obviously, we know he's with Cleveland now. But, but no, I think they have good pieces. I like the pieces they have in place, but they're a couple years away from really clicking and being a threat.
Yeah, they've got some pitching stuff that they need to fix too. I think their
Yes.
team, the pitcher, I'm looking at it. Mackenzie Gore leads the team in ERA, but it's at right under 4. It's a 3.9. So they've got some stuff. Go ahead.
But they're out of the Patrick Corbin contract.
They are.
That is done.
Yep, and Gore did strike out 181 batters over a full season. So not bad. He could develop into an ace. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will have to see. He's 25, so we got some time. All right, moving on from the Nationals to your Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves finished 89 and 73, third place. Third place? Did I get that wrong?
They were
They were second place. Let's go to the Mets. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
Well, I mean, they tied. They had the same record. So,
yeah, but technically they finished second, and the Mets finished third. Why does it stand like that? Anyway, let's talk about the Braves.
Probably head-to-head.
Braves,
let's look at head-to-head real quick, because I'm sure that's the answer
there
that
you
we're
go.
looking for. Brig.
There you go.
So I'm going to pull up head-to-head right quick. And the Braves
I got some
edged
here too.
The Mets 7-6.
Then let's talk about the Mets.
The Braves won 7. Okay, let's go talk about the Mets.
The Mets finished 89 and 73, third place technically. Team ERA was right at 15th Major League Baseball with a 3.96. Team OPS 734. That's 9th in Major League Baseball, and we knew they had offensive capability. Like, that was not any question.
Well, they had the fourth
Obviously,
best OPS plus in the National League at 108, so it's not bad.
Yeah,
By that I mean that guy's that's pretty good.
that's pretty good. The problem was, like, on June 1st, they were way under 500. I think they were 9 or 10 or 11
Terrible
games
start
under
to the season.
500.
Terrible
Horrible.
start to the season. That's the problem. That they're on paper. I think we all knew that they were better. No, I shouldn't say that because I don't think the front office knew that either. To be honest with you.
No, I think you're
But
right.
Pete Alonso didn't have a good year. Francisco Lindor started out slow and is now an MVP candidate because he picked it up and just got better as the season went on.
We talked
Right?
about him crescendoing just constantly.
Yes, exactly right.
We can't forget about Grimace, and that was a big deal. After some big old fat tantrums that first month or so of the season, there was some serious infighting, and it got really ugly. They expected more of themselves than they came out with, and then they started turning it around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was the Grimace.
Yeah.
The Grimace got them to the National League Championship Series. We did not think that would happen. We called it. I specifically called it cute. I believe in August and said it was going to run out, but it didn't.
You did.
The Grimace
absolutely
train
did.
pressed.
Okay,
on.
I just pulled this up through May 18th. Okay, May 18th. Lindor was batting 195, 268, 362. And then he finished the season once he started off as the leadoff guy. He finished the season 33 home runs, 29 stolen bases, 107 runs scored, 91 knocked in, an 844 OPS, and that was 152 games once they moved him into the leadoff role.
So he didn't lead off for 10 games.
Yep. No, it was like a month.
You said 152 games in the leadoff spot.
Yeah.
So that was probably. So
Yeah.
I think he was leading off the entire time because he was injured for a short spell.
Yeah, that's what it was, maybe. Anyway, the point is, like, the dude pulled it out. From going from a 195 average, it's awesome.
To finishing
33
at
home
237.
runs. Yeah.
1010. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong Francisco.
844 OPS. I was like, what are you talking
average.
about? I don't see that here. But
273 average, 138 OPS plus. That's the one right there.
That's the one.
Slugging 500. That's pretty dang good. 33 homers, 91
Don't
RBI.
forget Mark Vientos. He led the team with a 327 average in the postseason, and in the regular season, I just clicked off of it. In the regular season,
266
Vientos
in the regular season.
266. Yep. But Francisco Lindor 273, obviously. Pete Alonso 34 home runs. That's pretty good. Can't beat that. But I feel
That's
like
the thing
Pete
that's
Alonso
funny
was
is that
underwhelming.
he was. It was a down year for Pete Alonso with a 123 OPS plus, 240 average, 788 OPS, and 34 homers. But start to finish, it was like, it's not a Pete Alonso year, though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing that's crazy. Like, that's how good he is.
So
And somebody's
we have
going
to
be
move
getting
over to pitching
better than that.
because Sean Manaea turned everything around, and it was. I mean, did you see this coming?
Yes. I was
saw him
shocked
having this good a year.
I'm shocked he hasn't been this good, Brig. I love Sean Manaea.
I know, but I did because the fact the information that justifies you being not shocked. You're like, you knew it was going to be okay. I didn't. That's what I want to say.
The reason I knew it was going to be the reason I knew it was going to be okay was because I spent years watching Sean Manaea in the American League West.
You did.
But
this is still the best season. It's got to be one of the best seasons he's ever had. It's got to be. Now I have to look.
Let's find out. Let me pull it up. Okay.
You pull it up. Because this season, 181 and 2/3 innings, 200 inning plateau.
So this is his best career year for ERA for a full season.
Okay. With 347.
Yeah, with 347 because his other before this was 2018. He had a 359. The 2016 had 386. In 2021 he was 391. And then after that, other than that, he's above. He's +4. And then home runs. This is his third best season as far as giving up. I guess he gave up more home runs, but he also pitched more this year. So I'm gonna throw that one out the window. But second most in strikeouts. 2021 he had 194. This year had 184, and he pitched 2 more innings this year than he did then. But he's also a little bit older. How about this? Home runs per 9. He was at 1 home run per 9 this year. In 2017, he was 1 as well. In 2019, he was 0.9. So,
just right there.
What about his
just
whip? Right there. So,
what about look at his whip? Because this year he had a 1.08 whip.
Okay, so in 2019, I should throw 2019 out. He only pitched 5 games. Okay, let's take 2019 out of there. 2018 though, he did pitch 27 games. In 2018, he had a 1.077 whip. Other than that, like that's his best ever. Then this year, the 1.084 is his next best, and then 1.189 over 25 games in 2016. So yes, this is one of his best career years. But I feel like I didn't expect him to be this good, but I knew he was really, really good because I've seen his stuff. Okay.
Right.
Let me hedge.
It was a surprise to me, and maybe I'm not alone, but it was a surprise. A surprise to me. Severino also had a great year, way better than he's had in a long time, I feel like. And that's exciting. It's good for him. 30 games. He's not spectacular, but he still had a 3.91 ERA. Can't beat that. Not for a guy in his aging self. How old is he? Now that I want to know.
He's 30.
Yeah, he's getting there.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, let's. We got to talk about the Braves. They did finish just ahead of the Mets. They were 89 and 73 as well. Second place. Team ERA 3.49, number 1 in Major League Baseball. Team OPS 724, number 12 in Major League Baseball. A lot of things went really, really bad
and completely out of their control for the Braves this year. But
that's what I was going to say.
Everything that went wrong and they still were able to be this successful is nothing but a testament to their system, their general manager, front office, everything. It's just absolutely mind-boggling.
Yes.
They had no business being this good. None.
If they had a star, he got hurt at some point this season and missed significant time. That's pretty much how it went for the Braves. And good for them for getting to the point where, I mean, it came down to the last day of the season for them to make the playoffs. Like, that's how tight things were in the National League. But at the same time, though, like, the fact that they were even there and able to get there, to me, was enormous.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Like, that's really what it comes down to with the Braves, is they overcame so much this year. You get back Acuna, you get back Strider, you have a healthy Albies. Like, I think that team's going to be really, really good and right back there next year.
Well, and you add that to a killer Marcell Ozuna from 2024, who DH'd with a .302 average, 39 home runs, 104 RBIs, 378 OPS, or OBP, I'm sorry, and 183 total hits. He posted a 4.3 WAR at DH this year. Like,
154 OPS plus.
He just needs a little bit of help, and everything's going to be fine in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And then you've got Chris Sale, Cy Young candidate, 2.38 ERA, 18 wins, 225 strikeouts. Forget about it.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
So Max Fried, I believe he's going to be a free agent. Let me double check. Yes, he's going to be a free agent. So there's a chance that he could be gone. They could be missing him. But to get Strider back, I don't think that's going to be as big of a deal. You get a healthy Ronaldo Lopez. I'm just going to double check to make sure that he's going to be. Yeah, he'll be back. Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton is a free agent.
But I'm saying if you get him back, if you can get him back.
Yeah. I don't know if he's going to be coming back. He's 40. I think he might be retiring, actually.
You think so?
I wouldn't be surprised. So we're going to get to the Phillies in just a minute. But the fact that the Braves were decimated with injuries and only finished 6 games behind the Phillies.
Yeah.
This is a pretty good year.
It's unbelievable.
Because they very well could have been
about
below
the
Mets and a mess.
Let's talk about the Phillies. They finished first in the NL East with a 95-67 win-loss record. They finished 11th in Major League Baseball team ERA, 3.86, 7.50 team OPS. That's 5th overall in Major League Baseball. Schwarber killed it offensively. They killed it with stolen bases, and they scored a bunch of runs. Their WRC plus was killer. I think they were top 10 in the across Major League Baseball with WRC plus.
They finished 4th in the National League in stolen bases with 148, and caught stealing. They only got caught stealing 30 times out of all that, which is pretty good considering.
That's great. Brother Harper hit 285, 373, 525 with an 898 OPS, and he posted a 4.8 WAR on the season. What is he, 32? He's about to turn 33 or something like that.
He's 32. Just turned 30. Just turned 32.
Turned 32?
That OPS plus was up to 149.
149?
Yeah, so that's 49% higher than the average major leaguer, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
So good. And he led the league, Brig, with 11 intentional walks. They don't want to pitch to him. They're scared of him.
Yeah, no. Now, this is not to be outdone by Trey Turner, who led the team in average at 295, baby. Kyle Schwarber, 38 home runs, 104 RBIs, as said, from the DH, principally a DH this season. So,
and
how many
the league
bases
in walks.
did Trey Turner? Yeah, Trey Turner stole 19. Bryson Stott stole 32 bags this year. That's fantastic. This was an aggressive, hustle, beer drinking,
barroom brawling team again, and I liked it a lot. I was shocked
that is what they
got
feel
knocked off.
I was
really
too.
Shocked they didn't go deeper.
Actually, and this is the thing. You have to talk, if you're going to talk about the Phillies, you have to talk about their slump in August. They were a terrible baseball team in August. Like, just could not sort it out, and everybody was slumping at the same time. Like, everybody's going to go through slumps during the season, but the problem is when everybody goes through at the exact same time, which is the problem they ran into. They were 33-33 in the second half, and I think that. And part of that problem was I think their pitching got worn out. They pitched their starting pitchers right into the ground. And, and you see it every year. There are teams that run their starting pitchers in the ground. There are teams that run their bullpens into the ground. Their bullpens are gassed by the time you get to September. That's Seattle every year.
Right. Well, and Taijuan Walker just fell off a cliff.
Right.
Just nothing out of him.
And so I feel like that was the problem they ran into in the postseason, was just that the pitching just wasn't there anymore. They were just too tired to be able to do what they needed to do. The offense, I don't think recovered enough to be the elite Phillies anymore. That they were an above-average team at best by the time the playoffs rolled around, and who they could beat most teams in the playoffs, probably, maybe, but they were not the juggernaut that we saw early in the season when it was like, there's no stopping these guys. And yes, there were concerns about their strength of schedule early in the season.
Yeah.
But you can only play who's in front of you, and if you're winning the games you're supposed to win, then that's what's important, right?
Yep.
So, I don't know. It's interesting to look at this Phillies team with the way they fell off in the second half and be like, yeah, they won the division by 6 games, but a healthy Braves team is closer than that. A Mets team that didn't start horribly is closer than that. And if you look at the standings, let me get back to them real quick. 95 and 67. The Brewers are right there behind them.
Yep.
The Phillies are right there behind them. The
Phillies are
any other division they might have had some pressure put on them that they may have run into problems late.
Their bullpen was ranked 14th, and do you remember when they could not find a closer to save their life? Like, they just didn't have any reliable ninth inning guy closer.
Yeah.
And then their defense, like, I don't have the statistic in front of me, but just the eye test alone felt like their defense was really struggling. I'm looking it up right now. Defensive WAR, highest defensive WAR was JT Realmuto with a 1.3, 1.2 Bryson Stott, and everybody. And then Edmundo Sosa, 1.0. Everybody else is sub 1 just in defensive WAR. Like, they really struggled.
And you'd expect Realmuto to be right there, too.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's declining. Don't you agree? That
I do think so. And he missed significant time with that knee injury, too.
Yep.
So that's a problem. Because it's going to be hard. I don't know. But
it's tough.
I think you give this Phillies... I think you give this Phillies team one more chance. One more chance to get back to it, because you look at that one bad stretch and be like, that's not who this team was.
Yeah.
But if you think that's who this team was, then you blow it up now. But if you can't get it figured out next year, if you don't make the deep run next year, I think that's when you blow it up for sure.
I think
they're on the break.
We're going to know by spring training, we're going to know. But I hope we know way before that. I hope we know by Feb 1 what they're going to feel about it, because they'll have made the deals they needed to make. That would be ideal. We'll know by then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Baseball family, tell us what you think. Which team in the East divisions, the Eastern divisions, National and American League, did you have the most faith in and were disappointed by? Or have the least amount of faith in and were surprised by? Who are you excited to see this next season? And what moves do you think need to be made? Like, sound off in the comments and let us know what you think, because we have a bunch of questions. There are a bunch of question marks on these standings right now. The free agent market is bananas, and we don't know if Charlie Morton's coming back or not. So, if you got that figured out, please let us know. And if you think it's a good thing or a bad thing, we also want to know. Anyway, Brad. Oh, don't forget a Patreon.
Hey, we have a Patreon, and you can support the show that way. We have 5 tiers of support, in case you didn't know. We can start with a $1 a month tier of support all the way to an incredibly laughable $500 worth of support. And if you want to know what Brig is going to do, I just referred to myself in the third person because that's what Brad does. If you want to know what I'm going to do, what Brad has promised that I will do for the $500 commissioner tier or Hall of Fame tier, whatever we call it, then go in and check it out at patreon.com, search baseball together.
Or hit the link in the description. There's always a link in the description. Just like Brig, there's always money in the banana stand. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review everywhere that you can, especially on YouTube. I think you can leave a review on Apple. That might be the only or best place to do that. Either way, go do it. It helps out the show and gives us some feedback. You can always drop us an email as well at baseballtogetherpod@gmail.com. We will read it. We will respond in some way or another. Baseball family, thank you so much for joining us. We will catch you next week.